Durag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earth Date Y2k18.04.10. And here we are at the turning point and in the intermission. 4 dozen questions were leaked by Trump's legal team concerning collusion with Russia and with Trump's obstruction of justice to make it look as if Mueller leaked them. They were trying to destroy the Mueller investigation, but as usual, the idiots on the Trump team, thankfully, to our country's benefit, shot themselves in their feet. They gave the Mueller team plenty of ammunition in our quest to find out what happened in our elections of 2016. The Mueller team is using those questions generated by Trump's legal team, and if Trump decides not to answer them, Mueller has threatened to subpoena him. The pundits on MSNBC have called it the turning point. They forgot to add that we are now in the intermission of this epic suspense political thriller, a time for us to think about the civil Cold War we are now fighting. I'm in that grand lobby of one of those old movie theaters, standalone movie theaters I used to enjoy when I was a kid. I'm looking around, the vaulted ceilings, the ornate molding and colors. I grew up with movies. The first movie I remember seeing is The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, loosely based on the Ray Bradbury short story, The Foghorn, about a last-of-its-kind dinosaur crying out against the darkness of his or her loneliness. I was 3 when I saw this on the big screen. Movies have been both of the blessing and the bane of my existence, because real life is not the movies. Movies are the cave paintings of how we interpret our fragile lives in the human-dominated era. My reading of totalitarian fiction, such as 1984, my obsession with movies such as The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, first seen by me in the early 60s, have helped prepare me for the invasion of the Trump goons of this era. I have learned, thanks to my reading and my viewing of high-intention movies as art, I am well prepared for the civil war we now face. I've seen these scenarios many times before and have read them in books such as 1984. During this intermission of the massive political thriller we now inhabit, and partly thanks to 50% of us who did not vote, I am thinking of how I would fight my way out of this horrific mess. Let me see. Well, I'm certainly going to vote, because I've seldom missed an election day. I'm certainly going to read and to pay attention. I'm going to read and reread the list so that I can underline more pertinent chapters that prove we are in a mess, and a mess many times of our own making. I'm going to refuse to be distracted. I'm going to refuse to revise history. I am going to reread once again 1984, again, and I'm going to view The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, among other classics, again and again and again. Because thanks to these, in part, I may have been attracted to and destroyed by a cult. I never joined any. I will remember. Keep our minds remembering. They want us to forget. They're using Orwellian techniques. They're using the language, the media and the language, to play with the truth, to revise history. I will remember that Trump never showed his taxes, that Trump founded his campaign on racism and hatred and violence, that Trump is the founder of the Charlottesville murder of Heather Heyer, that Trump is responsible for every soldier killed under his incompetent watch, that he has not separated himself from his businesses, that Trader Trump violated the emoluments clause with every breath that he takes, that Trader Trump has sexually abused or assaulted several women. And the fact that the likes of Al Franken had to resign for what he did and not Trump reveals how far we have fallen in our efforts to be an example for the rest of the world. Not that we're so great, that is. That Trump is a liar, never forget that. That Trump is a mobster, never forget that. That Trump has ties with Russia and with Putin. That Trump is the worst tsunami of swamp shit we have seen in our history. That Trump will either get us into a nuclear war or will contaminate our planet and poison generations to come. And that this creep wants to chop down our 3 branches of government and is succeeding, of course, at changing our lower courts and along with our right-wing Supreme Court, which he will perhaps even change more to the right if Kennedy retires, will contaminate our younger generations with religious extremists for a couple of generations to come. I could add to this list, but you get the idea. And during this intermission, I have resolved to resist, to fight the worst menace to our society, our democratic republic, since 11 September 2001. I enjoy being in the great lobby of the Theater of Life. I feel the air conditioning. They always had these theaters. Cold inside, cool inside. I hear on this air, this wind, I could sense the aroma of popcorn, hopefully buttered and not filled with roach pieces. In those days, they took pride in their concession stands. Uh-oh. I see that they've begun to dim the lights, and through the open doors of the auditorium I can hear the Interact music being played. The second half of the movie is about to begin. I'm nervous, but I'm confident in the tools I possess, thanks to my love of books, of movies, and of paintings and drawings, the positive contributions that human beings have made. I must be a character of worth in this war for our democratic republic of life and death. Uh-oh. I must hurry back into the theater.